We will not underestimate our power any longer. We know that together we are strong. We will not underestimate our power any longer. We know that together we are strong. We will not underestimate our power any longer. We know that together we are strong.
Thank you. Well, Shabbat Shalom, welcome. And to all of you out there, we welcome you who are watching again on our streaming service. And we're glad we're back now till the fall. So we'll be live every single week. It's wonderful to have you back. For lighting of the candles. Anyone would like to come up? Michelle sings it.
Thank you.
Thank you. May the Shabbat candles that we now light inspire us to see justly and gently, to look honestly and with kindness, and to see what's holy in each other.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat.
Thank you. It's so interesting. We're here. We have Memorial Day weekend we're coming, which is our patriotic look. And when you read about the synagogues that are all over, this is the end of their season. They have Memorial Day, Shavuot, and then they shut down. We're just going to open up. So this will be the beginning of everything that we're going to be doing.
So because everyone from those synagogues is
will
coming
come
here.
So that'll be wonderful. Let's turn to page 4 in our prayer books. Hinei ma tov, how good and pleasant it is for us to be together. We'll join together.
Hinei ma tov u'manayim shavet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim shavet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov shavet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov shavet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim 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 shavet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov, hinei ma tov. Ya la la, ya la 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 la. ma tov, hine ma tov. Ya la la, ya la 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 la. Hine ma tov u'manayim, Shabbat achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'manayim, Shabbat achim gam yachad.
We'll turn in our prayer books to page 8 at the bottom of the page and continue responsively with our family prayer. May we never take for granted the gift of Shabbat as we sit nestled in the Rocky Mountains, sharing this humble moment with family and friends. May the satisfaction of celebrating Shabbat hearten our spirits. Let Shabbat peace bring quiet to our souls. Allow this time set aside for song and prayer to bring us closer together in thoughts and deeds. Space we share become our place of devotion, glowing with reverence and filled with our traditions. May the end of this week encourage us to examine our actions and let us look ahead toward the new week, be worthy of all of God's blessings. We welcome the angels of peace, the top of page 8, as we join together.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
As we continue on page 12 at the top of the page, we talk about arriving in Jerusalem, how the pilgrims lifted their eyes to the mountains. And this is also the week where in Israel they're celebrating Yom Yerushalayim, which is Jerusalem Day. It's the reunification of Jerusalem. And then my sermon talks about this evening how Jerusalem became what it really is today. We'll continue at the top of page 12 as we join together as Sinai.
Sinai El Harim, Sinai El Harim. Me'ayin yavo, yavo Ezri. Me'ayin yavo, yavo Ezri. Me'ayin yavo, yavo Ezri. Me'ayin yavo, yavo Ezri. Where will my help come from? Where will my help come from? My help will come from God, Maker of heaven and earth. My help will come from God, Maker of heaven and earth.
Well, when you look out back, or actually to the side, and you see how the stream is running, that's why we wrote this beautiful prayer on page 15, a covenant with God. And we talk about everything's melting and we're looking forward to a great summer. Let's continue responsively on page 15. As we live amidst the trees, streams, and mountains of Vail, we pray for the care and healing of the earth so that present and future generations may enjoy the fruits of creation. God made a covenant with Abraham and Sarah blessing them and their descendants throughout the generations. We teach our children to love Judaism, to honor, carry on the traditions and laws of the Torah, so our legacy may continue. God made a covenant with Moses and the Israelite people to all generations, giving our people the 10 Commandments and challenging us to choose a life of goodness. May each day be filled with kindness, honesty, integrity, and righteous acts, so we remain filled with the promise of those covenants. Turn to page 16, go back to the 16th century to Tzfat, the north of Israel, as we join together and welcome the Sabbath bride. Lecha Dodi, page 16.
Lecha dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmianu el hamiyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shemo tiferet ve'litchila. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nyacha, ki hi mekor ha'veracha, mirosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh v'machshevat tchila. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Mikdash melech ir melucha, kum itzi mita hafaycha, rav lach shevet be'emek habacha, vehu yachmol alayichem la. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela.
We rise, face the rear of the sanctuary to greet the Sabbath bride.
Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, yam besimcha uvetzahala, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat nekavela.
You may be seated as we continue the top of page 21. Psalm 92 was entitled the Psalm for the Song of the Sabbath Day. It was first recited in the temple in Jerusalem. We'll continue responsively at the top of page 21. It is good to give thanks to you, O Lord, to praise your name through song, to speak in the morning of your loving kindness and your faithfulness each night. To the music of the lute and the harp, melody of the lyre, I'll sing with my delight. So continue at the cantor, the middle of page 20, Tzadika Tamar.
Tzadika Tamar, Yifsach ישנים ורעננים יהיו להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי ולעולם תבוא.
It's funny, but on page 23, when we talk about Just for Today, and we explain to each of the Bar Mitzvah families, you don't understand. This is not a reading you skip. This is one you want to do in your service. And the cantor always says, it's been a tradition. Well, at least for 8 years, it's been a tradition that we do this. And reading it today will be... Sure. And this, if you stand up, this is also a good opportunity to face the camera and welcome all the people watching.
Welcome, everybody. We look forward to seeing everybody here shortly as our summer is beginning. Just for today, I will live one day only, forgetting yesterday and tomorrow, and not trying to solve the whole problem of life at once.
Just for today,
I'm afraid.
the life and death. Unafraid to. Yes.
Just for today, I will adjust myself to what is, and not try to adjust everything to suit me. If I cannot have what I like, I will try to like what I have.
Just for today, I'll be agreeable, cheerful, charitable. Do my best. Agreeable, cheerful, charitable. Do my best. Praise people for what they can do. Not criticize them for what they cannot do. And if I find fault, I'll forgive it and forget it. I'll try not to improve nor regulate anybody except myself.
Just for today, I will have a plan. I may not follow it exactly, but I will have one. It will save me from worry, hurry, and indecision.
Just for today, I'll get people off my nerves and not get on theirs. I'll appreciate them for what they do and what they are.
Just for today, I will not show it if my feelings are hurt.
Find a little time for quiet, to relax, to realize what life is and can be. Time to think about God and get a better perspective of myself.
Just for today, I will look at life with fresh eyes and discover the wonder of it. I will know that as I give to the world, so the world will give to me.
Thank you. Thank you. As we turn to page 24, we rise for our call to worship and join with the cantor in the Baruch Hu.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach. HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated. You've loved your people Israel with an unceasing love and taught us Torah, mitzvot, laws, and judgments. Ahavat Olam, the top of page 28, as we join together.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Avta, Amcha Avta. חוקים ומשפטים אותנו למדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ומצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגע יומם ולילה נגע יומם ולילה ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל אוהב עמו ישראל.
So for 65 or 70 of our recorded services, I always said, and now we continue with the Shema with the Levi girls. You get share the microphone. Okay.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Mahutov Leolam Va'ed.
Wow, that's gone from Malhuto to Malchuto.
There might have been a tov in there. I
It
don't
was
know. We'll
good.
talk
It was
later.
very. Let me continue in the Hebrew. It was good.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם למענך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Well, there's so much that we are grateful for, and we just say, it's just enough. We don't need to have that much more. We're living amidst the beauty here. We have our health. We have our family. Page 33 at the top of the page, may we have just enough. Source of all goodness, as we join together in prayer, we reflect upon the blessings that are always within our reach. May we feel healthy enough to arise in the morning, enjoy all this beautiful valley gives us each day. May we have enough wealth to be able to take care of our own needs and compassion enough to share our abundance with others. May we have enough wisdom to recognize our own faults, not blaming others, working toward being that better person. May we have patience enough to not easily become disheartened, knowing that with faith in the future, tomorrow will be a better day. Middle of page 32 as we join together. Micha Mocha.
Yai lai lai la lai la 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 lai. Yai lai lai la lai la 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 lai. Yai lai la lai lai yai lai la lai. Yai la lai lai ya la 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 lai. Micha mocha Abba Elim Adonai, Mi Kamocha Nehedar B'Kodesh, Nora Tehilot Osei Pele, Nora Tehilot Osei Pele. Malchutecha ra'u v'anecha, Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe, Ze'elianu ve'amru, Ze'elianu ve'amru, Adonai imlach le'olam va'ed, Adonai imlach le'olam va'ed. Yai lai lai la lai la 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 lai, Yai lai lai la lai la 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 lai, Ya lai la lai lai, Yai lai la lai, Yai la lai lai, Ya lai 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 lai.
May we lie down in peace, dear God, and may you stand us up in the morning in life as you spread over us your shelter of peace. Well, it's with profound sadness, O God, that we mourn the murder of innocent children and their teachers. The loss is overwhelming as we ask that you send comfort, strength to the grieving parents, siblings, family, and friends in this time of shock and mourning. Send healing to the school children who are lost, frightened, whose eyes witness the unfathomable horrors. Ease their pain with time, let their fears give way to hope. With time, let their cries give way once more to laughter. Turn our helplessness into action. Teach us to believe that we can rise up from this tragedy with a renewed faith in the goodness of our society, and shield us from indifference and our tendency to forget as you open our hearts. So let us rise up as one in a time of soul searching and repair so that all children can go to school in peace. And so, God of the brokenhearted, gather the souls of the victims under the shelter of your wings. Their lives may have ended, but their lights can never be extinguished. May they shine on us always and illumine our way. Hashkivenu, page 34.
We will not underestimate our power any longer. We know that together we are strong. We will not underestimate our power any longer. We know that together we are strong. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom lehamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom lehamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Ushmor tzeitzenu uvoenu lechaim ushalom me'ata ve'ad olam. We will not underestimate our power any longer. We know that together we are strong.
Well, the Birkat HaGomel prayer expresses the gratitude for the miracle of healing and the full restoration for one's health, of family and friends, and indeed the full restoration to life itself. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, hagomel l'chayavim tovot, sheg gimalani kol tov. May God, who bestowed kindness upon us, continue to bestow every goodness upon each of us and restore our health. For those in our community and throughout our country that are in need of healing of body, mind, and spirit, if you have a person in your life in need of healing in just a moment, feel free to share their name. As we continue the top of page 38, Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
We keep in our thoughts and prayers, of course, all of those in Uvalde, Texas, who are going through such a horrific time. And also Gail Balin, Sue Beiser, Lynn Colin, Blanche Deutsch, Lynn Deutschman, Carol Ann Finn, David Fried, Jane Friedman, Deborah Goldman, Cliff Goldman, Donald Jaffe, Warren Janowitz, Mary Sue Katz, Skip Clowens, Herman Keek, Ryan Kushner, Renee Myers, Pedro Prince, Stephen Reese, Roberta Scheller, Sam Schwartz, Bill Silvers, Bert Solomon and Lauren Solomon, Dina Stempler, Maury Strauss, Alan Tannenbaum, Toba Weinstock, and Mickey Winokur.
Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
As we turn to page 40, we rise for the Reader's Kaddish.
Yitkada ve'itkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra kirtei ve'amlich malchutei.
B'chayechon v'yomechon u'chayedechal Beit Yisrael Bagala bagala uvizman kariv.
Ve'imeru.
Amen. Yesh me Rabba mevarach le'alam lameho maya yitbarach.
Yitzbarach v'yishtabach, Yitpar v'yitroma v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shemei dekudsha
Brichu.
le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata.
Tushbechata v'nechemata damihiram bi'alma.
Be'imeru.
Amen. Be not afraid of silence. It's more powerful than the unpolished word. It allows God's voice to be heard and allows tears and doubt to tumble out. Page 42 at the top of the page as we continue. Adonai Svatai.
Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 Svatai tiftach. Ananana Ufi Agid Ufi Agid Tehilatecha Ananana Adonai Ananana Svatai Tiftach Ananana Ufi Agid Ufi Agid Tehilatecha Ananana Adonai Ananana Svatai Tiftach Ananana Ufi Agid Ufi Agid Tehilatecha Ananana Adonai Adonai Svatai Tiftach Ananana Ufi Agid Ufi Agid Tehilatecha.
May be seated when you've completed the Amidah. Page 56 at the bottom of the page, we'll continue with our prayer for peace as we join together. Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom, Shalom B'Ramav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh Shalom, Shalom B'Ramav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh Shalom, Shalom B'Ramav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh Shalom, Shalom B'Ramav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
We welcome the cantor back from 3 days of 24 hours of singing.
4 days.
Of 24 hours of singing.
Yeah.
Do you have your voice?
I'm not sure if this is my voice, but
it's working tonight.
A piece of it
some
left.
new songs.
In Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, at Olansang Ruby Union Institute. I was there for Havana Shira, which is a Jewish music, worship, and song leading conference that I've been going to. If I found out today, I know I'm only 17 years old. However, I found out that had Ziva not been due during one of them and COVID cancel,
You wouldn't have missed.
this would have been my 18th Havana Shira that I have gone
So
to.
you started when you were 2.
I started when I was 2. It's incredible. I don't, I learned so much of
That was a
my
Sephardic
repertoire
one.
there.
Yeah.
The Lecha Dodi. Oh, the one I did today. I'm not sure if I learned that one there or not, but I was reminded of that one there this time.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, that's where I met Debbie Friedman and Craig Taubman and all
That's
those
wonderful.
people, yeah.
Well, we have our flag not only for Memorial Day, but also this week is Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Day. It's known as the City of David, the City of Gold, and it actually has over 70 names, while most of us know it as Jerusalem. Now, many of you have had the privilege or even the experience of visiting Jerusalem. A highlight of my life is when I lived in Jerusalem for a year as a student. And as you walk the streets of Jerusalem or pray in the most ancient and holy of spaces, you might wonder, how did Jerusalem become such a special place for Christians, Jews, and Muslims? Well, to answer that, we have to go all the way back to the book of Numbers. We read, "And those that were to pitch their tents before the tabernacle toward the rising sun were Moses, Aaron, and their sons. They were responsible for the care and the upkeep of the sanctuary on behalf of the Israelites." Now, I found it interesting to read that when the Israelites were marching through the desert, through the wilderness for 40 years, that the 12 tribes, well, they had a very particular order in which they marched. And there in the very center of the 12 tribes that were marching, they had the Holy of Holies, the inner sanctuary of the tabernacle where we were told God's presence resided and appeared. Now, in trying to understand where the Israelites got all their laws and where we got our laws today, we do have that moment of the Ten Commandments on Mount Sinai, but the majority of the Torah and its laws, they were given to Moses within this wandering tabernacle, the tent of meeting. Now, as hard as it is to believe, Mount Sinai was never considered to be a holy place. Instead, the holiest place for the Jewish people, the people of Israel, was known as this tabernacle, and they marched through the wilderness. Now, here's the connection to Jerusalem. Because it was the tabernacle, it was that portable dwelling place for God that later became the model for the great temple of King Solomon, who was to build it in Jerusalem. Now, this week, as Israelis celebrate Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Day, we're reminded of the importance of Jerusalem to the Jewish people. It was King Solomon's father, King David, who conquered Jerusalem, and he made Jerusalem the capital of what was then a united kingdom. And it became a place, we're told, where God chose to place his holy name, as Jerusalem became the holiest place for the Israelite people and for Jews. Now, when the Babylonians destroyed the temple and led the Israelites out into exile, the psalmist wrote, "If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand lose its cunning. If I don't remember you, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I don't put Jerusalem above my highest joy." Well, the temple in Jerusalem was then rebuilt, only to be destroyed again by the Romans. And while the Jewish people went into exile again, they still continued, as we do today, to face toward Jerusalem when we pray. For 2,000 years, Jews never stopped dreaming of Jerusalem, always reciting the words of the psalm, "Return us with mercy to Jerusalem, your city." So when the Zionist movement began in 1897, the Jews returned to the Holy Land. And there was no question that Jerusalem was going to be their capital. And while the Jewish people saw Jerusalem as the spiritual capital, other faiths embraced the holiness of Jerusalem as well. Jerusalem was the place where Jesus was crucified and rose once again according to their faith. It was the place where Muhammad took his night journey, and according to Islamic faith, his vision of heaven. So the walled city of Jerusalem, It contains within such a short distance when you walk inside, you have the Western Wall, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and the Dome of the Rock. Jerusalem, over centuries, became holy to all three faiths. Well, in 1947, when the United Nations chose to partition Palestine into the Jewish and Arab states, Jerusalem became an international city. The irony is that the Jews accepted this partition, but of course, the Arabs rejected it. It was only after the War of Independence that Jerusalem, well, it became a city divided, much like the Cold War in Berlin, and Jews were prevented from ever visiting the Western Wall. It was only until 1967, 55 years ago, that during the Six-Day War, that Jerusalem was finally reunited once again. Everyone in Israel celebrated what we now know as Yom Yerushalayim, or Jerusalem Day. And who can forget the words of the Israeli army in 1967 when they announced, "The wall is in our hands." Well, every year on Jerusalem Day, Israel celebrates the reunification of Jerusalem. And we recall those words of Elie Wiesel, who once said, "One doesn't go to Jerusalem, one returns to it." This is one of the mysteries of Jerusalem. And we're excited to go back again in October. And for any of you that are going at other times, we're really looking forward to not going to Jerusalem, but returning to Jerusalem. And before we continue, we'll do some announcements now.
Okay.
Well, we'll let everybody join in. We're not going to give dates, but Janet, you're going to give 2 announcements. I'll give 1.
So
You can start with
we can
yours.
just talk about some of the things that are coming up this Sunday.
The list is so long that
It is a very long list, and all of the details about all of these upcoming events you can find in your newsletter. Coming up just this Sunday, in just a couple of days, we have our big end of the year event, sort of a belated Lag BaOmer celebration with our religious school families to wrap up the school year. We were planning to be at the River Park in Eagle, but it is supposed to be raining the entire time that we are there. So we are coming up with a rain plan. We will likely be at the Edwards Field House and have rock climbing and trampolines and all sorts of fun things. So even if you have a child that did not participate the rest of the year, but you would like to come and meet some of our families, you are welcome to come to that event. We have amazing things going on all summer, 2 mountaintop services
right.
that we have. The first of which, we're inviting Colleen Dieker to come and join us. She's an incredible Jewish musician, a vocalist, keyboard player, and violin player who will be enhancing our service in all sorts of ways. The melodies, the Bene Vail melodies that you all know and love, with some extra special enhancements from this very talented person who is also joining us the following day on Sunday, July 10th for our Bene Vail Academy. So we'll begin our Bene Vail Academy. This one will be hosted at the Brodsky's home, and we'll kick off with a brunch and be followed by several chugim. Everyone can choose a chug that they're interested in, these break-off sessions. I'll be leading one that will be about Jewish music. We have people...
Living wills. Ethical wills.
Ethical wills.
That's why I was giving you the mic. What are the other 2?
Health, aging and health.
Mm-hmm.
Cooking.
Cooking with Sunny.
CPR.
And a CPR class. So there's all kinds of different things you can break off. Yeah, so beginning with brunch, and then we'll split off into your elective chugim. And then after that, we'll culminate with a concert that Colleen and I will be performing for you. And the rest of the summer, we also have services going on at 3 different locations, because they are, if you take a look outside, they are obviously not happening there. So we do have a service at Walking Mountains, which should be incredible. We are, for our first time ever, hosting a Bene Vail service at Temple Israel in Leadville, at the historic Leadville Synagogue, Temple Israel. We're very excited to be doing one there, and we're doing one at Four Eagle Ranch as well.
And we have an additional, because 3 is never enough, So we're welcoming the wounded Israelis of Bishvil HaMachar, and we'll be at the Molina Ranch July 2nd. Thank you. So it's
And before we kick off all of those things, we also have our annual Bene Brit Leadville Cemetery cleanup, which will be happening on June 19th that Bene Vail is sponsoring, and we always love to have a big Bene Vail representation there. So
if you're not reading the newsletter, read it, because it's all in there, and the whole list, because the Book Chavarah is going to be amazing.
Tons of bar and bat mitzvahs coming up. We would love to welcome you to join us for all of those. I'm not going to list all the dates because we would be here for another hour, but our students have been working so hard and just completed their final year of Hebrew school and have just done, their Torah reading is some of the most beautiful that I have ever heard. I highly recommend coming to see all of their hard work.
And it starts next week.
Starting next week, yes.
It's a lot. There's a lot coming, but that's why we welcome all of you that your synagogues have shut down wherever you are. Come join us. We're not shut down for the summer. Let's return to our prayer books on page 60 as we rise and join together. Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tet gedula le'otzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, ve'lo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sham chelkeinu kahem, ve'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'ne'emar, V'haya Adonai, L'melech al kol ha'aretz, Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, U'shemo echad.
At this moment, in memory of our loved ones who are no longer with us, we join hands in love and remembrance because a link has been broken in the chain that bound us together, yet strong bonds of home and love hold us one to another. In solemn testimony to that unbroken faith which links the generations one to another, we call to mind those whose yahrzeit we observe this month. Dottie Albert, Steve Arano, Edith Barron, John Barron, Stephen Barron, Alan H. Blondie, Liebel Bobro, Tuvia Brightboard, Doris Bugach Fuld, Harold Davis, Paul Eugene Guski, Bertha Feldman, Esther Galprin, Scott Michael Garland, Esther Gordon Guski, Philip Green, Ruth Greisman, Ruth B. Katz, Leroy Kiefer, Bruce Clowens, Lois Lautenberg, Fred Lessing, David Levinson, Harold Lowenstein, Harold Arthur Lurie, Saul Malman, Louis Moskowitz, Ruth Myers, Arlene Patalano, Lee Perlman Rothenberg, Dorothy Puckross, Edward Corton, Oscar Reiniger, Samuel Rothenberg, Doris Rudolph, Fanny Schechter, Joseph Schragen, Ina Schwabe, Harry Schwartz, Murray Scudders, Morris Shapiro, Joseph Shapiro, Jerome Siegel, Leon Siegel, Harry Siegfried, Bertram Stone, Susan Taxman, Harry Weiner, Edith Weingast, and remember the children and the teachers that were lost just this past week. If anyone else has a name for yahrzeit. The Mourner's Kaddish can be found in our prayer books on page 64. Those who wish may join with me as we say, Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, l'agalav v'zman kariv v'ramein, Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'olam omei omaya, Yitzbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, Yitzhadar v'yitzalev v'yitzalal shemei d'kudishah b'richu, La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiran bi'alma v'imramein. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imramein. Oseh shalom b'imramav, hu yaseh shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Amen. May be seated. One more announcement of an event, and that's on Monday at 2 o'clock at Freedom Park. The cantor and I will be there. She will be singing some of our patriotic songs, and I'll be offering the prayers for the annual Memorial Day service that we do for the Valley. That's 2 o'clock at Freedom Park. And we'll conclude our service, Adon Olam, with a tune
For Memorial Day.
for Memorial, a patriotic tune.
Yeah.
Thank you. Page 66.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Leid Nasa V'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Livado Yimloch Nora Vehu Haya Vehu Hove Vehu Yebetifara Vehu Echad Ve'ein Sheni Lehamshil Lo Lehachbira Beli Reshit Beli Tachlit Velo Haoz V'Hamisra Vehu Eli V'chai Gali V'tzor Chavli Be'et Sarah Vehu Nisi Umanosli Menat Kosi Beyom Ekra Beyado Afkid Ruchi Be'etishan Ve'aira Ve'im Ruchi Geviati Adonai li velo ira Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Leit Nasa V'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra.
And we rise for a closing blessing. We actually had the words in the prayer book, and we've never used it.
Page 70.
We'll do one verse of it. Page 70.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitain, Adonai V'rechet Amo V'Shalom. May the Lord grant strength unto his people. Bless all peoples with peace.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen l'chaim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. There is challah and wine and grape juice in the
And
back
Shabbat
of
shalom.
the sanctuary. Shabbat shalom.
I'm used to hearing the music coming out afterwards.